Hi, this is Barbara Reese reporting for This Week in East Brunswick. And we're fortunate today to have with us Andrew Germak, who's Executive Director of the Institute for Families at the Rutgers School of Social Work. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And we have Christine McMahon, who's the President of Fedcap. So tell us a little bit about, perhaps, Andrew, about what the symposium that's coming up in February at Rutgers is all about.
Sure. Let me first, if I could, just start by briefly talking about the Institute for Families and what we do, what our mission is, and then we can get into the event. And I know Christine probably wants to talk about Fedcap a little bit. So the Institute for Families at the School of Social Work at Rutgers here in New Brunswick is a quite large institute that's dedicated to strengthening individuals, families, and communities throughout New Jersey and also beyond New Jersey by building the capacity of those who are working with individuals, families, and communities. We run large-scale training programs. We evaluate different programs throughout New Jersey and beyond, and we try to help human service organizations reach that next level. And in particular, with this event, we're planning to be a convener, statewide convener of two nonprofit organizations, Fedcap and a nonprofit from New Hampshire called the Moore Center, with several other esteemed guests that will be joining us to build a positive dialogue around disconnected youth and the problems with education and employment in that population.
And Fedcap is involved with this event as well. Can you tell us a little bit more about Fedcap?
Yeah, well, Fedcap is a 75-year-old organization. Its roots tied to workforce development, helping people gain access to employment. Ironically, it was started by veterans in 1936 with little hope for economic sort of future and independence, having been injured in the war. And from there really has expanded tremendously to help people with all kinds of barriers to employment and long-term economic independence. We like to say that we are organized around breaking down barriers that exist for populations, and our work with Rutgers on this symposium is really very, very important to us. Disconnected youth nationwide is a large issue, and this is all over the country being talked about as a significant problem, and we applaud Rutgers for hosting and convening, and the Moore Center and Fedcap combined with Rutgers are really hoping to put a realistic perspective not only on the problem but really begin to talk about solutions for this population.
Now, Andy, we talk about a national dilemma here. Maybe some people are not aware that a lot of youth are facing this kind of issue so early in life. Could you tell us a little bit about what's going on?
Sure. I think the impetus behind planning this event, and Christine and I, together with Paul Boynton, who's the CEO of the Moore Center, we met a few months back to kind of talk about this problem that's occurring nationwide, in which some 29% of youth between the ages of 16 and 24 are without work in this country, and that's only counting those that are in the labor force seeking work. And so there are communities in which that number skyrockets. In some minority communities, communities with other marginalized populations, it can be as high as 80% unemployment amongst this age group. And so the three of us got together to kind of brainstorm on, well, what can we do to raise awareness of this issue here in New Jersey? Because we feel that in New Jersey this problem also exists to a very similar scale as it does nationally. And so we decided to come together and plan this symposium, and really the mission of this symposium is to build awareness amongst those here in New Jersey that are working with this population of youth, number two, to create some dialogue around solutions for this problem. Now, we don't claim to have the answers to this problem. We hope that we can someday get to that point and have solutions for this nationwide and New Jersey problem. But I think that, nationally this is a problem that we don't feel that everyone is quite aware of or aware enough of.
And it seems pretty clear that even when we have possession of the broader statistics around this, as Andy said, youth unemployed at 3 times the national average, so the unemployment rate in the country is maybe, hovers between 8 and 8.5% now, and for this population, we're talking about 27 to 29, and sometimes north of that, depending on what state. But really, the story is told when you dig deeper into those numbers. Broadly speaking, the population between 16 and 24 are made up of a multitude of subgroups, each with unique problems and barriers to long-term economic independence. And I think the critical and central piece of the discussion and why we want to raise awareness around this age group is because they do reflect tomorrow's adult-related problems of unemployment and perhaps a path of homelessness, a path of unemployment, and perhaps a pipeline to entitlement services. We've found that if we can get early intervention in some of these subgroups, that we can really change the trajectory of these small populations as we move forward.
And you had mentioned homelessness is an issue that these youth are facing. It was part of their. Are there some other obstacles that they're facing in finishing high school and going to college that you're going to address in the symposium?
Absolutely. I mean, homelessness is a symptom of lots of these cohort groups. One of the groups we're looking at in particular are children who are in child welfare systems and juvenile justice systems. They make up a large part of this entire population of disconnected youth. And in particular for that population, for example, only 50% of the children in child welfare systems nationwide are achieving a high school diploma. And that's a profoundly important piece of the puzzle that we need to change. These individuals in child welfare systems are leaving and aging out of systems, oftentimes homeless, jobless, not able to access higher education, not even completing at 50% high school education. And we took a look at some of the children, for example, from this setting, child welfare settings, trying to enter college, and we found that among children in child welfare, only 10% are entering college, which is disproportionately lower than the average, but more alarming was that only 1% were successful in completing college. And these are, again, examples of small, deep dive issues that have to be looked at and resolved, because it makes all the difference in a child's future. We know education makes all the difference in a child's future. So.
And just to add to that, I mean, it will make all the difference in the child's future as well as the state's and the country's future as well. I mean, with an aging population around the country and here in New Jersey, if we don't prepare the next generation of educated workforce, I think we're going to have some real social problems that could be beyond even our wildest imagination.
Well, now this is a very important topic, but we do want our viewers to know where and when this important symposium takes place. Could you tell us some of the details, Andy, as to when and where and how people can get in touch with you to register? Sure.
So the symposium, which is entitled Changing the Story, so we're trying to change the story that we've been discussing, will take place on February 24th, Friday, February 24th, at 9 in the morning at the Busch Campus Center, Rutgers University, Piscataway Busch campus. And from 9 to 10, we'll have registration and a networking breakfast. And from 10 to 12:30, we'll have a program. Our keynote speaker will be Judge Pamela Gray from Washington, D.C., who herself aged out of New Jersey's foster care system, then went on to get a degree at Rutgers Law School and is now a judge in Washington. So she has a tremendous story. We also have former Commissioner of the Department of Human Services, William Waldman, who will be moderating a panel with 3 youth that we've identified during the 10 to 12:30 time slot. So February 24th, 9 to 12:30 a.m. We have had a tremendous response to this event. We posted the event on our website, and within 1 week, we got 400 people registered.
Now, what is that website again?
The website is socialwork.rutgers.edu. Again, socialwork.rutgers.edu. You can click on the Changing the Story Symposium link and you can register. Now, we have a waiting list for registration at this point because we've had an overwhelming response, which I think speaks to the enormity of this issue. So we encourage you to join the waiting list because my staff is working on getting everybody in the seats so we can hopefully get you in. We're also going to be streaming a live stream of this event.
We expect it to be pretty informative. Concurrently, in the state of New Hampshire, we have a group assembled live as well, hopefully engaged in this dialogue. Our belief is that this is not a dialogue that should just remain in one place, but really spread the word that we need to shed some light on this issue nationwide.
And I should add also that the event is free, and if you're a social worker and you're searching for continuing education credits, you can get 2.5 free credits from attending this event.
Well, thank you so much for your time. It's been a very informative interview, and we do appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us.
Great.
Thank you,
you.
Barbara.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for joining us here on This Week in East Brunswick. We hope to see you soon.